episode of Crippled by Culture, where we talk about everything in life and relate it to the disabled and chronically ill community. My name is Sean Gold, and I'm an author, advocate, and nonverbal public speaker for the disability community. To provide a quick visual description for accessibility, I am a Black man with a white tracheotomy breathing tube in my neck. I am wearing a gray shirt. The person off camera who you are hearing speaking for me is Brandon Lingle. This video is of a Zoom call with myself and the person talking for me off camera, and my guest is in the lower box next to it below us. Before we jump in, I want to give a quick shout out to Brandon Lingle for being my voice transcriber for this episode. Thank you so much. Today, we're talking about the intersections of disability and inclusion in the entertainment industry, and I'm really excited for this one. So let's get in it and meet today's awesome guests. Avery Roberts is a rare disease advocate, speaker, and professional dancer based in New York City. She lives with a congenital muscular dystrophy and has used her platform to challenge stereotypes, dance on some of the most iconic stages in the world, including Radio City Music Hall, and advocate for real policy change on Capitol Hill. Kelly Berger, based in Cincinnati, Ohio, is a 2024 RareVoice Award winner and a Rare Champion of Hope nominee who's constantly on the move, both literally and figuratively. She's a relentless advocate for rare disease, a dedicated mentor to other disabled young adults, and a live music fanatic who's traveled to over 40 states in her accessible van. Avery and Kelly, thank you both for being here today. How are you doing? Would you mind giving us a visual description of yourself, please? Kelly, we can start with yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I am a white female. I have brown eyes. I am wearing a brown kind of puffy sleeve shirt. And yeah, I'm excited to be here today.
Fantastic. Welcome, Kelly. Go ahead, Avery.
I am Avery. I'm a white female. I'm wearing a navy top. I have brown eyes. And I have AirPod headphones in my ears. And I kind of have like a light grayish background behind me. But yeah, happy to be here and excited for our chat today.
Welcome to you both. Thank you. I appreciate that. First, do you identify with having a disability or chronic illness? If so, do you mind sharing what disability or chronic illness you have?
Yeah, so Kelly and I both live with an ultra rare form of congenital muscular dystrophy, which is a rare genetic disorder of the muscles that causes the muscles to break down faster than they can repair or grow. So that leaves Kelly and I as both power wheelchair users. Our community is primarily mobility device users. Um, and yeah, Kelly, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, no, you said it well. I both just live with CMD, the same subtype. So yeah, we're both just excited to chat more with you and about our disabilities today.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I'm going to pause just for a moment. Oh, okay. How does your disability affect you in everyday life?
Yeah, so we rely on caregivers for support to complete our activities of daily living. So just having those support systems, we do a lot of the same things that able-bodied people do. We just do it in a different way. And yeah, we're just excited to be here and share with you more about that. So.
Awesome. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, so CMD affects is usually at or soon after birth. So we have both been affected our whole lives with it. The severity of CMD kind of ranges. So um, it depends. Like some of us walk for a while, some of us transitions to chairs later in life. It just kind of depends. It's kind of all over the board, just depending on your journey. But yeah, we mostly are predominantly mobility device users full time for wheelchairs. So.
Um,
Understood, Avery.
I was diagnosed at 7 years old. When I was born, I showed signs of a neuromuscular disease. Um, but since CMD is so rare, it took 7 years to get that official, genetic diagnosis. Um, and So in between there, they kind of put me on the path to how you would usually treat a neuromuscular disease. So like the physical therapist, the occupational therapist, the neurologist, but it wasn't until after, extensive and expensive genetic testing and a muscle biopsy that I was officially diagnosed with collagen 6 congenital muscular dystrophy. Um, but there is no treatment or cure for CMD as of right now. We, are lucky to have a large clinical community who, is working on CMD research to hopefully bring us closer to treatments. We're also grateful to work closely with our sister organizations that, are focusing on more of the more common MDs like SMA and Duchenne who, are doing great work in CRISPR and gene therapy and have gotten uh, to treatments faster than we have just because they're a little bit more less rare. So we're really looking forward to kind of learning from them to apply to our own community. Um, but also we're really passionate about supporting our community in the here and now, as well as getting us ready for the future once that time comes that we can get to clinical trials and treatments and cures. Kelly, I don't know if you want to add a little bit about your diagnosis
Yeah, I
journey.
feel like everybody's like diagnostic journey is so different. Can be a lot for me just undiagnosed for a while or misdiagnosed, which happened in my case. So yeah, I was diagnosed at age 3, but wrong with the wrong diagnosis. They originally had diagnosed me with spinal muscular atrophy type 3, and then went most of my life thinking that that's what I had until it was until like my late 20s that they actually had neurologists like take a deeper look at um, my genetic makeup and decided that, oh, wait, that's wrong. You actually have CMD. So it kind of happens, unfortunately, a little too often. We're just trying to spread awareness and educate clinicians as to the presentation of what CMD actually looks like, presents, and obviously better genetic testing and things nowadays. So that's helpful too. So yeah, I didn't get my official correct diagnosis until later in life. So I know that's um, unfortunately common in the rare disease community, and hopefully that gets better as technology and things and education are better for the future. So
Yeah, thank you for, and you both naturally answered my next question, which was how does CMD differ for you both? So I'll go to the next question. Thank you for giving us that insight. It's really important to understand that even the same disease or similar disease is different for you both. Avery, you mentioned, I'm sorry, it was it C6 CMD or there was a six in there. Will you
Yeah,
remind me?
collagen
Collagen
6
6.
CMD.
A- And Kelly, is yours collagen 6 as well?
it is. So me and Avery actually live with the same subtype of CMD. So it's kind of wild and crazy that we found each other on this journey. But yeah, we both live with collagen 6. So yes, very cool
Thank
little
you.
fun fact.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you both. That's amazing for being here with us today. Um, did you go through, and you both can answer, did you go through your own internalized ableism, and how was or has that journey been towards inner acceptance for you both?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Yeah, I think we all kind of struggle with that, just like as a societal norm. I know definitely I'm a little bit older, so back in the day I would say that things were not like I didn't see myself out like other people in the world like me. And so yeah, I kind of had those internal negative thoughts. But as I grew older and learned more and understood my rights and my abilities, that yeah, I definitely was able to kind of shift that perspective. But yeah, I think it's something that we all kind of dabble with here and there until we see really grow and kind of change and see um, the world adapt around us, and hopefully for a better, more accessible future so that we don't have to have those negative thoughts.
Are you,
I,
Avery?
yeah, I would say, honestly, when I think back to like my childhood and like my journey with inner acceptance, I feel like there was never a point where I had that in a way. And maybe there was, and maybe I like am not admitting it, and like maybe I'm shutting it out too, blocking it out. But I feel like since CMD is there at or soon after birth and on the like spectrum of CMD in terms of phenotypes, there's Ulrich collagen 6 CMD, which is the more severe and early onset, which is what Kelly and I both have. And then there's intermediate, which is like in the middle. And then there's Bethlehem, which is late onset, less severe. And so since Kelly and I have the early onset and more severe, we've had it like our whole life. Like we have experienced it. Like we only know a world where we've had CMD. And so I feel like in a way because of that, I've never really had to have that inner acceptance arc in a way. Um, but obviously I think daily there's those that frustration with ableism, and the obstacles that we, have to encounter daily, every second of every day, basically. I just don't know if I've ever had really like a problem with accepting it myself because honestly I feel like if it weren't for my disability I would have never met Kelly. I probably would have never been on this this recording with you guys. And so I think it's just brought me so much positivity to my life and so much joy that I can't really see a world where I wasn't a part of this community. So I'm really grateful for that. And I know that's not the case for a lot of people. So yeah.
That's a wonderful perspective, Kelly and Avery. Thank you both for giving us that insight. What do you think? And Kelly, you touched on the next question, so you guys are doing really great here. What do you think you've learned that stays with you on a daily basis from the disability community or a specific disabled person?
I feel like there's so much good advice. One that I've had to practice is just like being resilient, and just not taking no for an answer. I've been told no so many times in my life, like, no, you're not going to try, you're not going to go to college, you're not going to do all these things, and just knowing, what you're capable of with your mind and not focusing on, your physical elements of this part of your disability. So yeah, I just think just never taking no for an answer, find a way to still do what you want to do. Um, and it just made it look differently. But I think that you still will achieve great things. And I definitely see that in others within the disability community. So that I don't want to use the word inspires, but gives me strength to push through and continue to show up and do those things as well. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And Avery, same question to you. What do you think you've learned that stays with you on a daily basis from the disability community or a specific person?
So I actually think one that always stays with me is what Kelly just said. Ever since I heard Kelly say that, I'm like, oh my God, that is so true. Like, just, when we're navigating the systems that we have to, you really need to, lead with that, to never take no for an answer. Um, and I think that also something that I really try to take with me is nothing about us without us. That's something that a phrase that I've definitely taken from the disability community. And I have that really drive me and just the power of the lived experience. Um, and also just like, especially with our work on Capitol Hill, um, that we need to speak up if we want to see change in our world, in our society. And so um, we just need to have a seat at the table um, when, we are trying to amplify, the voices that are often overlooked, or, the disability community's voices are often dismissed or minimized or again overlooked. And so um, I think that that's definitely advice that I've taken from the disability community, and that I think also unites us a lot within the disability community. So yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like we're getting way more initial no's or rejections to our questions. How do you suggest people keep motivated through the rejections?
It's hard. I feel like it's easy to get discouraged and, um, feed into that. But I think that we're stronger together. I think that there's power in numbers. So I think, whatever commonalities we have, we need to like come together on and unite to really make a positive force for change. So uh, I think just, finding that person that's gonna be, hey, like we got this, let's keep doing, let's keep pushing. We didn't get the answer we wanted this time, maybe next time. Like I think just having your a support system there to support you and just bond with people that are similar to you that are after the same things, I think helps you stay motivated to keep trying and keep at it. And it's an endless fight. I feel like sometimes the walls are getting taller and taller for us to climb and reach actual real change. So, but definitely, strengthen numbers and try to find those people that are gonna uplift you, that understand you, and are willing to fight there with you.
Yeah,
um
I think, oh, go ahead, Avery.
no, I was just gonna say, we need more allies. Like, you don't need to be a part of the disability community to be an ally. And we need that support because, like Kelly said, there's power in numbers and there's strength in numbers. And so, you don't need to know someone who lives with a disability. You don't need to, directly live with a disability to be an ally with our community. And so we really need to see more of that for sure.
Yeah, and we're sort of witnessing the power of community right here with you both. I mean, Avery, you've talked about how Kelly has been somebody who has helped you through some potentially difficult times, and so it's amazing to see this interview here will help somebody else, somebody younger, somebody older, somebody possibly within your same ages. The community is everything, and having somebody to fall back to is so important. Um, so now moving on to your involvement in the industry, I'm sorry, entertainment industry. Avery, you have literally danced at Radio City Music Hall, and that's incredibly iconic. What did that moment mean to you, and what barriers did you have to push through to get there?
Oh, it should be like, I hope everyone has time because I think a lot of people think that um, those uh, high level, experiences would be the most accommodating, but honestly, those are the ones that need the most education, to be honest. Um, so, yes, I was the first wheelchair user to dance on the Radio City Music Hall stage, which, like you said, it's iconic. And obviously, I was excited not only for the opportunity just to be able to check that box for my career, but also um, for our disability community. It was a huge moment for our community um, to have that representation on the iconic stage of Radio City Music Hall, and around 5K, 6K people were able to witness that. They witnessed history. And so I'll never forget that moment. And then obviously to have my family and friends there was incredible. Um, and but for me, it felt like I was grateful to be the first, but I shouldn't have to be the first. And I know that I will definitely not be the last. And I will work, it's my life's work basically to make sure that I'm not the last. But with that comes a lot of change that needs to be enacted in our industry. Um, Not only, in front of the camera or on stage, but also backstage and behind the camera. We need to see more people in the disability community in those executive roles, in the producer's chair, in the director's chair. We need more access as well. Like, some productions are starting to adapt or adopt access coordinators, which I think is um, a great role, a great adoption for especially productions, so that there is that one person who can coordinate all access needs. Um, and so I really want to see more of that because I think it starts there, making sure that um, the disability community can even have access and have the access that they need and deserve in productions. I think also something that's really huge to me is and important to me is authentic disability representation. And so when Kelly and I were growing up, we never saw people that looked like us on TV. We never saw people who looked like us in magazines or the children's books we were reading, or even the dolls we were playing with. And so it goes so much further than just seeing ourselves represented, but also making sure that the people that are representing us actually can reflect the real experiences that we experience. So it's not, in a magazine where someone that is able-bodied is just put in a manual wheelchair so that people can check the box by saying that they included the disability community. Great. Like they like pat themselves on the back basically. But that is really the bare minimum and we shouldn't just be a box to check. And so that's really important to me as well because everyone should have the right to see their story reflected in a narrative. And they have that worth too. And so for me, it's not only the access, but also the equality. I have a friend who's on Broadway right now in Wicked, which is crazy. And Wicked, for anyone that knows, I'm a huge Broadway fan since I live in New York, and so it's all I think about all the time, as Kelly knows. But Wicked has been on Broadway for 20 years, and there's a character in Wicked that is a wheelchair user. Great. Love that. Like, I think wheelchair users and disability community members do need to be woven into storylines, but we also need the right representation to play those roles. And so it was just last year that they cast my friend Jenna Bainbridge as to play that role. And Wicked has been on Broadway for 20 years, and that's the first time they've ever done that, which is like insane to me. Like that it took them 20 years to have to and to put that representation on stage. But when my friend Jenna performed at the Tony Awards a couple years ago, she explains that like her cast, went one way into the theater and she had to go another way. And so, although there was an accessible entrance for her to get in, it wasn't the same accessible entrance that her cast was going in. And so, to all of us, that's access, but it's not equality. And so, I think what I especially want to see in the industry and all aspects of it is um, that equalness and that equality so that everyone can see themselves reflected and represented and everyone feels seen and heard in that way. So I feel like that was a very long answer, but that's like all I'm passionate about. And obviously, I'd be happy to answer any other questions about it. But I think my main experiences are really what drive my passion in the industry, which I feel like anyone could attest to, even if you're not in the industry, that what we experience every day is what really drives our passion.
Thank you, Avery. Not a long response at all, a very important response. So thank you for the insight. It's great to hear that some barriers are being broken and corrected, but also that we have some barriers still left, as you identified, to get through. So it's awesome that we're having this conversation. For you touched on being the first, and I asked you about that. Is it more exciting to be the first, or does it get tiring to always have to lead the way?
Um, Again, I think I am grateful that I have that opportunity, but I think, more tired that I have to lead the way. Like I shouldn't have to lead the way. Again, I'm really grateful that I can start those conversations. And it's not only me too. Like there are definitely disability community members who I'm doing it alongside, which is so great to see. But again, I shouldn't have to be the first. And it amazes me that it's taken this long. Um, and we're nowhere close. We're making progress little by little every single day. But again, like it shouldn't have had to start here. We're in 2025. Like, what are we doing? And like I'm sure Kelly could talk on just not only, the performance side of it, but the audience experience as well. Like it just, again, I think it's also stuff that maybe our able-bodied would take for granted, like being able to just like buy tickets to a show or a concert and sit wherever they want. Like accessible seating is so limited. Even just like assistive listening devices, like, or people who, live with autism, like the bright lights and the blinking lights. Like it's stuff that I think just people don't think about. But again, like why has it taken us this long? I think that's my main question. And obviously I think no one's gonna be able to answer that. But like still that's like what keeps me up at night, basically. Um, like why, you know?
Mhm. Yep. And what's so important about what you're saying, Avery, is we always hear about people, especially celebrities, saying something along the lines of like they never saw someone who looked like them growing up. They didn't know, they didn't know where they would be. And for me, I do know what it's like. And I know for me, it was discouraging to drop that dream.
Yeah.
So thank you. Kelly, I know you're not a performer, but you're a fan of live music, as am I. Have you witnessed any artist or performance that has done accessibility right for the audience? And if so, can you name any examples?
Oh goodness. I feel like there are new initiatives out there where it really is at the artist's discretion to improve their accessibility. I know there's a couple of things that I usually go to kind of smaller, more general admission type like club shows and not always huge arena shows. So those are kind of like a mixed bag as to I show up like what's gonna happen? Is there gonna be a space? Is there a barricade? Is there someone to, assist me to a safe location? Yeah, I really think I can't really name an artist that's really gone above and beyond. I hate to say it. I think that there needs to be more people that are stepping up and saying, hey, these are the accommodations I want for attendees. I would love that and welcome that. I haven't seen it firsthand yet, unfortunately. But I hope that maybe having more conversations will help spark that change and really want to improve that experience for all. I think people don't really I don't know. I guess get discouraged. It's a lot of planning to attend a show. Can you get in? Can you get a ticket? Is it safe inside for me? Can I see? The line of sight is honestly probably the biggest hurdle for me that I am constantly trying to talk to security or get moved to a different location. Like I can never usually don't have a very good viewpoint of the performance, which is sad when you're always in a seated position and I don't have a chair that elevates So I'm literally staring at people's backs most of the time and missing a lot of the show because that's just what the, accommodations are. So yeah, I think really improved concert accessibility and experience would be uh, something that would really get excited for people to actually want to attend shows and have a better experience. So I hope we can help, at some point with that. And maybe anybody listening can, talk to their venues or artists or performers and maybe start having those much needed conversations for change there.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for bringing us right into to accommodations, because they're often overlooked or just sometimes not even thought about. But when question to both you, Kelly and Avery, did you get any pushback from anybody when discussing your disability accommodations? And Kelly, that can be from your perspective as a fan, and Avery from your perspective as a performer.
I've been pretty welcomed. I'd say I have been turned away. So like when I go to like major festivals that are like 80 to 100,000 people, generally they have like an ADA coordinating team and like we'll have those accommodations. I would say my needs that if I let them know in advance, like letting them know, I'm a wheelchair user, I need an ADA platform, or I have a caregiver with me, and those are my needs. They have been pretty welcoming. I mean, sometimes you have to really work for answers and replies. Like I shouldn't have to chase after people and their team to get an ADA wristband, to, get in a line that I can actually get through the security checkpoint. Like there's things that's like we still have to work harder to get the things that we need. So it's like the accommodations are being more welcomed and are there, but you gotta chase it. You gotta keep after it. That's kind of been what I've experienced. So
Are you noticing as a fan that accommodations are improving, or would you say, yeah, improving, stagnant, getting worse? What's your perspective?
yeah, I would say slowly improving. It's slow. I think it's definitely getting better. I think now again with the numbers, I think there are more and more disabled people showing up and wanting to have these experiences that, oh, wow, they realize, hey, maybe we should have a section. Hey, maybe we should have a line or a protocol or this and that. So I think it's important for us to keep pursuing and taking part in the things in the community so that they know that, hey, we're here. We want to participate. We want to be a part of this. Now accommodate us. Like, yeah, that's kind of how I've seen it.
And can you explain for those who might not know what the ADA wristband is and what it does and how do you get one?
Yeah, so generally, if you're attending a major festival, like you can reach out with your needs beforehand, that you get like access to a like a raised ADA platform, or sometimes they'll have certain sections for like accessible porta potties or just different ADA safe locations that allow you to access with like you and your caregiver. So if you have needs, sensory needs, or whatever your needs are, and that just kind of grants you access to those locations that would be safe for you because when you're in crowds of those numbers, it's like can be kind of dangerous to be just immersed in that sea of people. So those like ADA spots are just kind of just safe spaces that you're able to get there and to breathe and to know you're in a safe space around people that can help you and get the support that you need there. But yeah, you just usually reach out to the festival ADA emails or their contact forms and just kind of go from there. Like again, a lot of times you don't always get answers, replies. It takes some chasing, but it is possible.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight. Kelly, or I'm sorry, Avery, question to you about accommodation. So from a performer's perspective, did you get any pushback from anyone when discussing your disability accommodations? And if so, or if not, how did you proceed? How did you handle that?
Um, I would say I haven't experienced pushback, but I've definitely experienced barriers. Like I've shown up to um rehearsal and there's like a whole flight of stairs and they knew I was coming. And so like it's stuff like that where I feel like um I thought that accommodations were taken care of, um, but I show up and they're not. And so I feel like um, there needs to be more openness as well. Like I think we need to scratch the surface of being even open to disability inclusion. Um, because I've had experiences. I was doing like a live television production and um, was told that I was going to be seen in the contract. There was going to be like two separate cameras on me, and that was all taken care of, and that I was going to be seen because it was a huge opportunity for them in terms of including the disability community. And I obviously was like, you know, I wasn't like it needs to be all about me. Like that wasn't the reason for having two cameras on me in the contract. It was just that to ensure that like I was going to be seen at least at one point. So that that disability representation was going to be seen. And you know, when you do things live, you're doing it live. So things go wrong all the time, especially in television and live television. But I wasn't seen at all in that production. When in the contract it said that there were again going to be two separate cameras on me, and so it's stuff like that, like just the obstacles. And so I think since you know there, I've heard people who have definitely had you know pushback. Um, I think also like they just don't think about it. Like when we're on set and like there isn't an accessible dressing trailer. There is an accessible dressing room, or there isn't an accessible trailer, or there isn't accessible restroom. And so they don't even think about it. And so that's why I think that there needs to be more openness to scratch the surface so that we can then even be a part of these productions and then you know bring up the accommodations that we need, um, but there aren't even any opportunities really usually to even bring up any access needs. We're seeing more productions that have that as a priority, which is great. But again, like Kelly said, progress is slow. And there needs to be more of that. There needs to be the role of, you know, an access coordinator who, you know, handles all of that so that all of that is met. Um, and so that's why I think that we need to scratch the surface first, and then that will help lead to greater inclusion. Um, yeah, because like there isn't even like an opportunity to, you know, to do all of this, you know, because there's just no openness.
Just a conversation. I feel like have a
Yes.
conversation, communicate. Like, yeah,
Yep.
I think that that's for
Collaborate. There needs to be more collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you both are literally driving this conversation so well because we're talking about authentic disability representation in media and performance and seeing that person on stage or seeing that person in a leading role in film or TV. But talking about Avery, the behind the scenes, and Kelly getting around the festivals and these experiences that you want to be a part of, that representation behind the scenes too is just as important because, like you just said, Avery, you're not able to have those accommodations or feel like you have the person that you can go to and speak to who understands what you need and can proactively manage your needs rather than being reactionary to everything or at a venue where maybe those accommodations simply can't be met, but you know you're the performer and you need them to be met. Um, so is there anything else you'd either like to add about disability representation behind the scenes and its importance before we move on?
No, I think we covered a lot with that. I'm good with continuing on.
Awesome, great. Have there been excuse me, have there been any standout experiences, positive or frustrating, that shaped how you advocate now?
Are we still talking about entertainment or just in general?
Let me
Just
one
want to make
moment.
sure I answered it to what you were wanting.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Entertainment, please. Yeah. Why have there been any standout experiences in entertainment, positive or frustrating, that shaped how you advocate now?
Um, I guess one that sticks out of my mind more recent is I did get the opportunity to go to a date of the Taylor Swift Eras tour. So getting tickets to that I alone was just like, the lottery system, a gamble, but also being needing accessible tickets for that um was also just like the hardest thing. And then showing up and seeing that most of the accessible spots were taken up by able-bodied people who didn't necessarily need them. And that was really frustrating for me because I was the only wheelchair user that I saw in my section, in my area, like in general. And so it just really frustrated me and was discouraging that, people in my disability community couldn't get those tickets and they were taken up by people that necessarily didn't need them. And, we already have limited seating options in general. So it just really like broke my heart to think that, oh no, like, another Kelly couldn't get tickets because it was just, some family member, people wanted to sit, next to their young girls or whatever it was. And that was just really, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. I know that was like one of the highest sought after tours ever. So for me to even get in was just like a miracle in itself. Um, but yeah, that just is that I think that there needs to be more accountability from ticketing platforms to like crack down on who's buying those accessible tickets. And I don't know if there's like a verification system that they can implement or what that looks like, but yeah, I would love for more of the disability community to have opportunities to purchase tickets regardless of the demand and the high priority of the performer. But yeah, I just think that there needs to be a better user experience so that we can actually, enjoy the same things and not be so limited and be turned away because other people that are abusing those things are taking advantage of it. So that was more of a negative one. I'll turn it around, Avery. Maybe you have a positive one you could share. Turn it around.
Um, Kind of like piggybacking off of the ticket theme, Kelly, I recently actually bought tickets for a performance at Radio City like in February, I think. And it was actually just really interesting to see how they did it. Like obviously I like went on Ticketmaster like everyone else does. And it was a pre-sale too, and so I like had to wait in the queue like everyone does. And but there were no accessible seats. And so when I went into like the info tab, it said if you needed it, you had to call um this number, and it's like Radio City or Madison Square Gardens disability accessibility office or something. It has a name. I just can't think of it. And so I called them, and I felt like I was like filtering out every single word they were saying because we all know. I don't want to assume things because I think people have a lot of assumptions and misconceptions around the disability community. But we all know that the person on the other end of the line probably doesn't live with a disability. And so I was like filtering out every single word she said, like how she said it, the question she asked. But I like she was so nice, and I love that they have an office just for our community um, at Radio City and at the theater. If there are any issues, I think that's great. But I also feel like, why did I have to call just to get tickets? And I don't know if it's their way of like confirming that like I actually need the ticket, like that kind of thing. But like there are people in our community who can't just call. And then they would have lost out on the opportunity to, see the show I was trying to get tickets to. So like it that like literally just happened recently, and that like what you said, Kelly, sparked that and brought me back to that conversation I had with her.
Right. Just the extra
Um
steps that we have to take.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah. And that also
It
brought me up to when I was another thing real quick, I just briefly went to a Broadway show in New York, my first Broadway show, and I bought accessible tickets. And I
yeah.
show up and the lady goes, well, you didn't call to tell us you were in a wheelchair and we have to move the seat now. We have to rearrange this whole section. And I go, I was supposed to call like the ticket says accessible. Like, and she like blamed me. It was like gaslighting me. And I was like, this is my first Broadway show. Like, what? Like, it was just so
You're like, I'm never
mind
coming back
blowing.
now.
Yeah, I was just like, this is the
Yeah.
protocol. Like, it was just so wild to me that she got mad at me for not alerting the venue. I was like, but this is an accessible, like, that's what I bought. And she's like, oh, yeah, it is, but you have to tell us you're in a wheelchair. I was like, what? What is this? It was so wild to me. Anyway, I believe we have endless stories that are kind of those encounters. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah, and unfortunately they like are what drive us, to advocate. And so it's those experiences that push us to advocate for, for change and for lasting change. Um, there are definitely positive ones um, that, push, give me hope. But I think honestly, unfortunately, we experience more of those are rare, and the negative experiences are more the ones that push us to advocate more and more
and the ones that
for
remember too,
change.
I feel like
Yeah, the more
those are the ones
memorable
that stick
ones.
out are always the negative ones. Like, oh, remember that time? Oh, that was so frustrating.
Yeah, and it kind of gets into the whole thing of like just good business, like the disabled community is still an audience of people who desire to get out, to participate, to experience. And it is good, it is in everybody's benefit for these venues to offer places for the disability community to come and be and to experience. And Kelly, that's so frustrating that you buy a ticket that is an accessible ticket, and it's like the community goes above and beyond always. And so for you to have an accessible ticket that isn't actually accessible, I mean, talk about frustrations. But we'll move on to some positivity. What has been some of your favorite performances? Sorry. Before we move on, what ticket site did you buy it from? What platform was that? Or was it through the theater specifically?
Yeah, I want to say it was theater Pacific. It wasn't like a Ticketmaster or a Access or thing. It was like direct theater tickets from that venue. So yeah,
Well, this is a shout out to Broadway to do better.
yes,
I
please, yes.
agree. Preach.
Okay, so yes, going back to favorite performances, Kelly, you touched on Taylor Swift and the Eras tour. Avery, you've been in some performances yourself. What has been some of your favorite performances you've seen over the years? Avery, you can go ahead.
She's thinking. She's a thinker.
Yeah.
um, do you mean like that I feel like has done disability representation and inclusion done right, or like performances that I have just loved in general?
If you have a response for one or the other, but in general, yeah, more in general.
Okay. Um, I mean, if you know me, I feel like my favorite Broadway show is Mamma Mia, which I feel like is such a like a girl thing to say. And Kelly can attest I am not a girly girl, actually. So, um, but yeah, I think Mamma Mia is definitely just a fun feel good show. Um, yeah, I feel like it really depends on like the season. They're all so different. Um, but they're Broadway. They're above and beyond. Um, I'm trying to think. Kelly, do you feel like I have a favorite show? Do I talk about like something
I feel like
specific?
you talk about Wicked a lot, but I know
I
it's not
talk
your
about
fave, but
I mean, yeah, like when I saw Wicked for the first time, I hated it. And like, but I think like
shout
they're,
out, be bold and
yeah,
honest,
sorry,
please.
Wicked.
Tell us how you
Sorry,
feel.
Wicked. I think you have to have a particular taste for Wicked. Um, I think I just talk about Wicked a lot because um they're, the ones who are really doing disability representation right now between the Broadway show and then also the movie. Um, Marissa Bode was in the movie and she played that character who is a wheelchair user. And she's a wheelchair user herself in real life. And so it was really interesting to be taken on the journey of what her experience was, not only being, on set, but also just like in general, like having that role. It was such a history making role um, in the movie and for the industry, but also they're one of the first movie productions and sets who did have an access coordinator who did redo a lot of the sets so that Marissa had that accessibility. So it's really ironic that I talk about Wicked a lot, but that's because I'm not that big of a fan for the reasons I think a lot of people are. I'm more of a huge fan of it because they've done it right, and we need to see more of these productions doing it right.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's incredible to see this happening. Um, Now it's time. Kelly, do you have any favorite performances over the years?
I always have my favorite band. Every started to be talking about it. My favorite band is Blink-182, which they put on crazy, wild performances, and yeah, just getting to see their recent comeback and anniversary tours and stuff. That's always like iconic for me. That stands out forever. Will be my favorite performers that I don't shut up about. So, yeah, any Blink show is top in my mind.
Talk about Haley Williams.
Oh yeah, I also really like the band Paramore. The lead singer Haley Williams is just like a really strong female powerhouse who I look up to and admire, and she's all about inclusion and just I don't know, just access and love and equality for all. So she's just someone I really admire. So I always enjoy their stuff too. She like it is so fun on stage, and just like if I could channel any like frontwoman energy, it would be her because she's a badass. So
That's amazing. So you bring up Blink-182 and you've mentioned festivals and pretty large festivals a couple times. Did you see Blink-182 at Coachella?
I didn't. So I've seen them. I just went to, no, I've not been to that large scale. Coachella's on the bucket list. I haven't made it out to the West Coast and done that yet, but I hope to at some point. I saw them play at Fork Music Festival in Pennsylvania, which is more of a rural festival, definitely a lot smaller scale. But yeah, I definitely will follow them on any festival, but festival route that comes around more Midwest area. But yeah, definitely bucket list. I hope to get there sometime. That'd be epic.
Recently, Kelly saw them in Pittsburgh one weekend. This was recently, like a couple weeks ago. And then she saw them she saw them that weekend, and then she saw them again
I see them
that
like back to back,
Tuesday.
like whenever they're in like
So
Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Pittsburgh, like yeah, surrounding states. That's like 5 or 6 hours. I'm like, I'm doing it. Yeah, so I
That's
usually see them
amazing.
back to back.
yeah,
As I'm crazy
so
like that. I can't get enough.
Blink 182, you've got a mega
Yeah,
fan right
fangirl. Yeah, your
here.
biggest fan right here, right?
Yeah, we're calling it in. Oh my gosh, we're calling in Blink-182. We're calling in Coachella 2026 for you.
Yes.
Let's
Please
do it.
summon them. Yes.
Um, Avery, this question's to you. What advice would you give to disabled people who want to be on Broadway or on stage in general? And before your performance on Broadway, did you receive any advice from any of your disabled peers?
Oh, that question gives me chills in a way. Um, I,
How so? Before you begin, how does it give
I,
you chills?
I, I think just knowing that like Kelly and I are leading the way for those after us, the younger girls, the younger people who, the future's so unknown for a lot of people in the disability community, especially when you get that diagnosis, you don't really know how you're going to turn that diagnosis into either empowerment or, uh, yeah, empowerment. And so, just to hear that, like, Callie and I, are hopefully role models to the younger ones, the youngins. We're so old, Kelly. Um, it like just it warms my heart in a way, and it's so fulfilling, and it's why we do what we do, and so that's why it definitely gives me chills. And also just to see how far we've come. Like, if you asked me like 10 years ago, would I have ever, said that this is where I would be today? I don't know. And so I'm just really grateful. But I would say my advice would be um, to like make space for yourself, like if you don't see um, yourself in a role or you want to pursue, some kind of role in the entertainment industry, whether it be, on a production staff, on an executive team, or, as a performer, like make that space. Unfortunately, we kind of have to carve out those roles for ourselves just because they're not being carved out for us, but like raise the conversations. Um, don't, dismiss a dream of yours just because you haven't seen it done before. Create it. And unfortunately, it will take a lot of work and you'll have to, create it from the ground up. Um, but it's either that or you do dismiss the dream. And so I would just encourage that. I'd also encourage to tap on your community. I think the disability community is so strong, and so united. Um, and so, you know, send that scary DM, send that scary email, because you don't know what could come of that. And I think that, would be my major advice to just, keep fighting in a way, to, carve that path. But also know that there are people, ahead of you or older than you who are trying to do the same. And we need, the next generation to definitely continue that and continue our legacies. And Kelly and I always talk about the great Judy Human. And we just kind of hope that we can continue all that she, did for us. Um, and that the same goes for us as well. So,
That's amazing. And great advice, especially to the young. Like you touched on. I think I can't quote you verbatim, but you said something along the lines of, "I hope I hope we are role models," and you both are role models. Like you are role models. That's incredible. Kelly, well, I might not know that you have performed on stage. We all perform in the showers. Is there any time or do you have any desire to perform on stage or any talent you want to share if you had the opportunity?
When we keep saying role models, I keep thinking roll, like physically roll. That's like all about the puns here. Anyway, so I love both of those meanings. Goodness, performer. So I don't know that I have like that talent. I would say I've been trying to push myself more into public speaking roles. So I think like the stage that I would be just speaking on a larger scale, something like this about disability, about inclusion, about all those things. So that's I don't know. I think that that would be my talent. That would be my special power is that. But unfortunately, as much as I love music, I'm not inclined to perform in that way. Maybe some tambourine or cowbell or something in the shadows. But nothing like singing or anything like that. So but yeah, probably just speaking engagement is probably more my vibe.
Awesome. Well, hey, I have yet to see a speaking engagement that also incorporates cowbells and tambourines. So,
It would be a first, and yeah, it's definitely the bang, right?
yeah, let's get you on
Be
stage.
memorable. Yeah.
I'll fly in the tambourines for you.
Okay.
Well, this has been such a great conversation. Is there anything else that you both wanted to discuss today that we didn't touch on, or do you have any questions for me?
Thank you so much for having us. This has been such a great conversation and looking forward to many, many more. But thank you for all you're doing too, especially in the community. And, um, you know, just so grateful that we have this connection now. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, just excited to stay connected with you for sure. This has been really fun. I enjoyed the conversations. It's been great.
So thank you both for your time. I will say two outros now. So if you can stick around, there are parts of both outros that will incorporate responses. So I'll do the first one, and part of that, there will be a question for you. So it'll come naturally. Okay, here we go with the first. Thank you both so much for joining me for this conversation. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. A big thanks to my guests for sharing their time and insights. Before we wrap out, before we wrap up, if folks want to connect with you or support your work, where can they find you? Go ahead, Avery or Kelly.
So you can find me. I'm on pretty much all social media platforms. Um, I'm either under Avery Roberts or Avery dot Nicole 916. And yeah, we please reach out. Kelly and I love connecting with other people in the community. Sharing insight, hearing other people's insight. Um, and we strongly believe in and know the power of community. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Kelly.
Yeah, I'm at the Kelly Berger. So TheKellyBerger on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, all the things, the same everywhere. And yeah, this pretty much what Avery said. I love connecting and meeting new people and supporting the awesome disability community. So please, yeah, stay in touch, get connected, hit us up. We'd love it.
So thank you both, Kelly and Avery. You can find all those links in the show notes. And I'm Sean Gold, and this has been Crippled by Culture. Be sure to follow the show, leave a rating or review if you loved it, and share it with someone who'd appreciate the message. I'll see you next time. All right, we'll do one more outro. Basically, the same response for this outro as well. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me, Kelly and Avery. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. I appreciate all the insights you shared. Before we wrap up, if people want to connect with you or support what you do, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us on social media at the Kelly Berger, so at TheKellyBerger on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the things. I love connecting with others, so please feel free to reach out.
And like Kelly, I'm pretty much on all social media platforms as well. I'm either under Avery Roberts, AveryRoberts, or Avery.Nicole916. So yeah, we love connecting with other people in the community, and believe in and know the power of community and the disability community. And so please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you both. I'll make sure everything is linked in the description below. Once again, I'm Sean Gold. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. And make sure to hit the bell if you're notified when new episodes of Crippled by Culture go live. See you next time.
Want to listen to Crippled by Culture on your favorite podcast platform? Well, now you can. Crippled by Culture is now available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search up the show title and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for being a listener.